Here for this. My name's Aaron, and I am the co-founder here, and I'm also the product manager of Planning Center Services, the class that you're here to learn about. How exciting. We did a class earlier today on worship planning and music. And today's class, not today, because there's already one today, this class is on scheduling. We're going to talk about how to schedule people for different dates, how to send out scheduling emails, and even a little bit of how to manage your teams inside of Planning Center Services. So that is what you are about to embark upon. It's going to be a wonderful journey that we're going to take together. Now, scheduling in Planning Center Services is for all ministries. People often ask, I have children's ministries. Which Planning Center product do I use to schedule children's ministries? Any scheduling is done in Planning Center Services. I have an eyelash on my eye. I'm going to get that out because it will be really annoying for me to be constantly blinking the whole time. All ministries in your church can be scheduled with services, and everybody does scheduling differently. Even different teams in one church set their teams up differently. So there's a lot of different ways to set up your teams and to do scheduling, and that's really the thing that makes it kind of confusing in services. If there is anything confusing, it's which kind of team is mine and how do I set that up? But once you set your team up, then actually scheduling from there on is going to be really easy. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. Now, we're going to start with just the really simplest version of scheduling, just how to get somebody on a plan and how to email them out. So you sort of see from start to finish the easiest way to do it. Then we're going to talk about how to make sure your account is set up right by creating teams and templates, and then finally scheduling the people using those two different things. And then at the very end, we're going to talk about how to manage your people. Now, the most important thing you can learn today is how to get help. And all Planning Center products have help built into them. So at the top right of all of our products is a question mark up here, and you or anybody can click this question mark, and help is on the way. So you will see suggested articles based on what page you're on. You can ask any question to get taken to another shorter video or article on that thing, or you can contact our customer support team who respond to your questions usually in 1 business hour or less. In fact, right now, it looks like if you were to write in, they would answer you within about 19 minutes. That's pretty awesome. So take advantage of that when you have questions. This video is going to be available until we do the next one. You can watch it. You can send it to friends. You can send it to people that might need help with this, either by just having them search on YouTube or by going to planning.center/university. And all of our Planning Center University courses are listed on there and are available for you to watch at any time so that you can know everything that there is to know about using Planning Center. Let's get started. So the first thing, like I said, is going to be just a quick overview of simple scheduling. So I am in an account right now that's already set up. If you are brand new, the first thing actually you'll need to do is create a service type. So if you're actually brand new, your account would look a little bit more like this, and it would say add a service type. Now, in the other PCU that we did like a couple hours ago, I talk about how to choose whether you're going to do service types. If you want to know how to know which service types to set up, watch the worship planning PCU. It's at the very beginning. So you'll learn that. But you would make a service type. I already have done that. So I've got my contemporary service right here. I'm going to expand it by clicking this triangle. And then here are all the plans that I've already made coming up. So September 20th is the next one coming up. I'm going to click on this to go into that plan. Now, the default view when you get to a plan is the order of service, showing you like the songs and stuff. If you're just worried about scheduling, there's a better view for you, the scheduling view. And the way that you get in and out of that view is by clicking on this people icon kind of at the top left. Songs, media, and people. If I click on people up here, this will switch my whole view into scheduling view where I've got people on the left and the teams that are scheduled to this plan. If you ever get in this view and you want to get back, you just click that people sidebar icon again, and it will take you back and forth. So I'm going to be in scheduling view because it just is, you see more teams at one time because it's taken up the whole screen here. Okay, so To do simple scheduling, once you have things set up, this is how easy it's going to be. You would just go in and instead of scheduling people, I'm just going to import a template because most scheduling is very similar each week. So I'm going to go to add people, and instead of these other options, I'm going to choose the very top one, import a template. I've made a whole bunch of templates, but the first one I have is all teams, weeks 1 and 3. That is what I want. So I'm going to import that template, and all the people and the people related things in that template are going to be added to this plan. They're just imported to this plan, ready to go. So that's importing a template is usually going to be what you're going to do weekly. And I'm going to show you a couple of different examples of types of teams so that most of you are going to just use one of these. So the first type of team I have is this first impressions team. Now, this is a split team because I schedule some people at 9 a.m. and some people at 11 a.m. It's split, different people for each time. That's a split team. The other thing that I do in this team is for this team, I know who the people are going to be every week. It's a set group of people. On the first and third week, it's always Adriel, Anton, Barbara, Brian, and Kate, the same people. So my template just has people in it, and they're all unconfirmed. Okay, another type of team, tech. Here's my tech team. This is a team where the people I schedule each week are not predefined. I just choose from a list of tech people each week. So what I have is a feature called needed positions. I say every week, I need one person for lights. I need one person for lyrics. I need one person for sound. And then on the week, I click to see who my people are, and I choose one of those people. So that is needed positions. Another team I have here is the band. And this one is actually kind of a little bit of both. So when I imported my template, notice down here Tanner is crossed out. Tanner was scheduled on my template as drums, but when I imported him to this plan for September 20th, Planning Center looked and saw, oh, Tanner is on vacation. He had added a blockout date that happens to also be on September 20th. So it automatically declined him for this plan, and it created a needed position in his place. It says, hey, the drummer that you normally use is gone. You're going to need to get somebody else. So that's one cool thing about this. The other thing is you can see in the band from my template, Jeff was unconfirmed because I'm going to email him. But my other people, Jessica, Reagan, Tyrone, and myself, we're already confirmed. And that's because this is a team where most of the people are the same every single week. It's a team that's always the same. So if you have a team of people that are, they never change or hardly ever change, then you can have them confirmed automatically so that you're not asking them, do you accept or decline this week? No, they're just always confirmed by default. And then this last example for vocals is a little bit of both. So I've got myself as the worship leader. That's me every week, so I'm confirmed automatically. But the worship team, every week I choose different people and compile a worship team based on their availabilities and maybe what songs we're doing that week. So you can kind of see all these teams are set up in a little bit of different ways. And the variations are, do you know who the people are? Do you know if they're confirmed or unconfirmed? Or do you just want to say, I need a certain number of people and then choose them each week? Okay, so what I'm going to do actually is in this worship team, I'm going to schedule a person. So 3 people needed. I'm just going to click right here. And I'm going to look and see who are my worship team members. I set this up already as worship team. So I've got myself and Ashley and Dalton, and everybody looks like they have conflicts here. And so I can look to see why some people have conflicts. So Elizabeth says not preferred. Over there on the right, it says she does not want to serve more than 2 times in a month. So she must already be scheduled twice, but everybody else has conflicts. So I'm going to just ask her for a 3rd time in the month. Ashley is preferred because it says she wants to serve in the same plan with her husband, Ty. And Ty is already on this plan, so it's like, you should schedule Ashley as well. So I'm going to schedule Ashley, and then I'm going to choose another person. And now all 3 of my people, I'm going to accept, have been added to the plan. Now, here's a really important thing for you to notice. This is one of the things that trips people up or confuses people. When I put people on the plan, does it just automatically send them an email? No. We do not automatically email your people when you put them on the plan. And there's a reason for that I'll tell you in a second. But the way you know is, notice next to Ashley, Elizabeth, and Katie's names, there is an email icon. If you even hover over it, it says, this is a prepared notification and it has not been sent. Until it is, this plan will not show in Ashley's schedule. So what happens is, by default, when you schedule somebody, it prepares an email, but you have to manually send it. Why? Well, because as I'm going to show you later, we actually encourage you to schedule, put people on the schedule for 4 weeks or 8 weeks at a time. And then once you've made sure that all of your weeks are full and that conflicts, if you schedule this week and then you go to schedule next week and everybody has a conflict, you can just rearrange it before you tell anybody. And then once your scheduling puzzle is all assembled and the conflicts are all good, then you can say, yep, this looks good. Now I'm going to send an email to my people. Otherwise, if it's just sending them automatically and you're like, oh wait, it'd be better if I put that person on week 2 instead of week 1. It's too late. You've already sent them an email. So this helps you prepare your schedule, and then when you're ready, then you actually send it. So how do we do that? Well, because these little email icons are here, there's also next to vocals up here, there's a little email up there. So I'm going to click email because there's 3 unsent. I click that. It chooses Ashley, Elizabeth, and Katie. I'm going to leave the content of this template the same, and I'm going to send those 3 emails. And when I do, message is sent to 3 people, and the little email icons disappear from their name, and now they're officially scheduled, and when they log in, they can see those plans. So that's prepared notifications. Now, what's nice is when I send these, each person has the option of also getting a text message. And if they have our mobile app, they could also get a push notification to their mobile app. So if you have people that don't use email or just don't check it very often, encourage them to install the Services app, Planning Center Services for iOS or Android. And you can also have them go to their profile, or you can go to their profile on here and add their cell phone number and enable text messaging. I think I'm going to show that later, but if I don't, just type text message into the help box and there will be a lesson that shows you how to do that. Okay, so I'm actually going to show you what now it looks like for what that email looks like for Ashley. So I have a shortcut here. I'm going to hover over Ashley right here, and I'm just going to click this little person icon. That's going to jump me right to her profile. And from her profile is a communication tab. So I'm going to go to that, and I'm going to see all of the messages she has received. So she just received this request from me a month ago, and I can't see it yet because it's actually been queued to send, but it hasn't. Sometimes it takes a couple minutes to send. Well, look at this. I sent her the exact same one 3 months ago when I did this class. How fortuitous. So I can show you what that email looks like right here. So this is what that email looks like. She's been placed on the schedule. It tells her all the times that she is assigned to, and it has buttons to accept or decline. So that is the scheduling email. What does this look like when Ashley logs in? Well, wouldn't you know? I'm logged in as her in another tab. So let's go and check it out. Here I am, and now I'm actually logged in as Ashley. And I'm going to refresh because we just sent that email. And now you're going to see in her pending request section is this September 20th worship team vocals. And so she can accept this request if she wants to. And she can, if she has multiple requests, she can accept them all using this accept all button at the top. And you can see everything she's going to request gets highlighted when I hover my mouse over it. So it makes it really clear what's going to happen. And if she declines, she can click on a decline button and it will ask her to give a reason. Because sometimes it's nice, people can say, I would prefer you not schedule me. I have this thing, but if no one else is available, I'll do it. It's nice for them to be able to put those reasons in there. Now, she has the option to see not just her own schedule, but her family schedule. It just so happens that Ashley's husband, Ty, is also on a team. as you already saw. So at the top of her schedule is her avatar here, and Ty's is there, and you can see it's kind of dim because it's not turned on right now. So if I click on him, it's going to enable him on this page, and now I'm not just seeing her schedule, I'm seeing Ty's schedule as well. And so I can see that they're both scheduled here, they're both scheduled on September 27th, and then the plans that she's already confirmed, she's confirmed for September 16th, but Ty is confirmed for October 11th and 25th, and some different plans there. And when you have things visible and you use the accept and decline buttons, it does accept or decline for everybody. So if Ashley would be able to accept or decline for Ty because he gave her permission. When you first click on somebody else in your household, it sends them an email. It would send Ty an email that says, hey Ty, Ashley wants to manage your schedule. And then he can click, yes, she has my permission to do that. If she didn't want to do them all, she could disable him up here in the filter, or you can just hover over individual ones and accept or decline just the individual request instead of everything that you're seeing right from there. Blockout dates are a great way for team members to tell you they're going to be unavailable before you even schedule them. It's so much easier to schedule the right people in the first place rather than have people decline. And so at the top of their dashboard here is a blockout dates button. When Ashley clicks that, she once again has the option to block out dates for her, for Ty, or for both of them. So if I click both of them here and they're going to go on a family vacation together, she can click, add all of those dates and, say family vacation and type that in. I'm not going to do that, but that would then add a blockout so that if you tried to schedule either one of them on those dates, it would tell you that they are unavailable. And the last thing I'm going to show you from this My Schedule page is the calendar subscription. So the pending dates I see here and the confirmed dates for Ashley, she can go and under the calendar, she can click subscribe. And depending on which calendar she uses, she can subscribe to these so that when she's in her own calendar, she can see all the dates that she has, and not just the dates, but even the times. If there's like a rehearsal on a Thursday night, all of those different times that you see here listed in the side would now be able to be in her own calendar. So that's kind of the general basic gist of scheduling, how you send out the emails and what it looks like for a person. So now we're going to figure out how do we set up the system so that it's that easy in the future. And setting this up is done in 3 steps. So the first thing we're going to do is set up our teams. Then we're going to do templates, and then we're going to schedule. So number 1 is team setup. How do we do that? Well, I'm going to show you. So right now I'm on the My Schedule page. I'm going to click over to the plans page because I want to see all the plans, not just the things I'm scheduled for. And we were looking at this earlier. So for the contemporary service, each service type gets its own teams. So if you can have a contemporary service band, you can have a traditional service band. So what I'm going to do is I am going to actually let me help you understand a little bit more about those service types. Sometimes knowing when to make a different service type, like we do talk about that in the other course that we did earlier today. But one thing about teams is if you're trying to manage all of your teams, sometimes you might want to split them out into different services. You don't have to, but let's say you're managing first impressions and security and coffee and band and tech and children's ministries and all that, and they all serve for the main service. You sometimes can choose to put them in one service, and sometimes if it's just a lot of teams, you might just choose to put them in different service types just to keep things cleaner, not because you have to, just, yeah. So that's a decision that you sort of want to make based on the number of people and the number of teams. There's not really a clear-cut answer. I would start by putting things that are related together. So here's my contemporary service, and I'm going to move over here to this gear because I want to look at my the different things available for the contemporary service, like the settings, teams, templates, or reports. So I want to see my teams for the contemporary service. So let's click on that. And now here are all the teams that I've made for this contemporary service. And I've got quite a few teams: children's ministry, first impression, tech, band, vocals, choir. And so what I want to do here is I want to create a new team. So what I'm going to do is go over here and I'm going to click add a team over here on the teams page. And I want to add a security team. Security, and this is going to be a new team. And is this a split team? Do I schedule different people for different service times? Yes, actually. The security team members, some of them serve at 9 and some of them serve at 11 a.m. So I am going to make this a split team. So now I'm going to click submit, and it's going to make me a new team called security. Now here, because I already have a whole bunch of plans planned for the future, it's going to say, hey, you've got a lot of plans already in the future. Do you want your security team to be assigned to any of these times? This is a lot of stuff, and I'm just going to skip it for now, but this would be a way to assign them to that. So now that I'm on my security team page, I need to add some positions. My little text down here says, hey, you can't put people on a team without giving them roles or positions. So I've got positions over here, and I'm going to add a position for my inside security, and I'm going to add another one for outside. And these can be whatever you want, as you can see. So I'm going to go to inside, and I'm going to assign someone to this. So who's the best person for security? Well, it's Tony Stark. So I'm going to type his name right there. And people that are already in your database are going to show up right here. If you don't have a person in your database, it's okay. You actually have a green button right here that will allow you to create a brand new person. This will add them to Planning Center services, and it will actually add them to your entire church database for Planning Center people if you use other Planning Center products. I've already got Tony, so I'm going to click and add him there. And now Tony is one of my inside security people. Now, the other way that you can get people into your account is you can actually import an entire CSV of people. If you have another system that you're already using, you can export a CSV from there. And on the People tab, there is a setting that says Import CSV. And that will allow you to bring a whole bunch of people in all at once with their contact information and everything so that they're already in your system and you don't have to add people one by one. If you're interested in more detail about that, watch the Planning Center University on Planning Center People. So the other thing I can do, in addition to assigning just people one by one to this, notice it says search by name, tag, or position. Well, I already have a security team for my traditional service, and it's basically going to be the same. So instead of recreating that, I can just see, hey, who did I assign to the inside security on that other service? I'm just going to search inside. Oh, look, security inside for traditional service. Yeah, let's click that. And it's going to say, hey, there's 6 people. Do you want them on this team? Sure do. So yes, assign 6 people. And now those 6 people are on here. And that's a really fast way to get people on the team. So now I'm going to put people on the outside team, and I'm going to show you an extra cool thing about split teams, because we have a split team for 9 and 11. So when I add people to a split team, it's going to assign them to whatever times I've enabled in the filter. So notice on this inside, my filter had 9 o'clock and 11 o'clock both showing. So all these people that it assigned them to 9 o'clock and 11 o'clock. Let's say Bruce doesn't serve at 11 o'clock. I can click here and I can uncheck 11 o'clock, and now he's only assigned to 9 a.m. Now for outside, I want to do it a little bit differently. Right when I assign people, I want to get them assigned to the right time. So I'm going to change my filter so that I'm only seeing, so that my filter is for 9 a.m. Now, when I import people to this team, let me type that correctly, it's going to actually assign them all by default just to that 9 o'clock time. So by default, they're all assigned to 9. And if some of these people also serve at 11, I can just click and change them to 11 a.m. Now these time assignments can be done from a person's profile as well. So when they log in and go to their profile, they actually can say, yeah, I'm available at 9, I'm available at 11. So you can set these for them, or they can set these for themselves. The other thing that's nice so you've got times, and you also have scheduling preferences here. So preferences allow you or your team, because once again, they can set these on their profile too, to tell you how often they prefer to be served. So let's say that Bruce, he's busy often. So instead of as often as needed, Bruce is going to say, you know what? I actually only prefer to be scheduled twice a month. Or I only can be scheduled every other week, every third week. Or you know what? Let me choose the weeks. He can only be scheduled, and then it would allow him to say the first week and the third week of the month. But I'm just going to choose once a month right now for Bruce. And now if you try to schedule him a second time of the month, you'll just get a little warning that says Bruce prefers not to be scheduled, but you can ignore that. Any of the preferences are just that. You can decide to schedule people anyway. Let's look at team leaders. This is a really important part of your teams, and it's going to start to be even more and more important as we make more updates to Planning Center over the next year. So for any team, I have a team leaders tab over here. And so I can go into here and I want to say, you know what? Yeah, Tony is also the leader of this team. And so I'm going to add him onto there. And you can have multiple leaders. So who's a leader? A leader is anybody that's in charge of this team in any way. It might be the person that is like responsible for scheduling them. You might have a different person that schedules them each week, so they would both be team leaders. Or you might have somebody that just answers questions when they ask them. They don't actually schedule them. That person would also be a team leader because each, so let's just say Steve Rogers is also a team leader of this team. All the team leaders get to choose which notifications they want. So let's say Steve wants to know when people accept or decline. So when anybody accepts or decline on his team, he's going to get an email. But you know what? Tony doesn't want that because he actually doesn't schedule people. This way, Tony doesn't know what's happening with the scheduling, even though he is still a team leader. The other thing is Steve might say, I also want to know when anybody from my team blocks out a date. So if anyone who is a team member on this team now adds a blockout date, Steve will get an email for that. So that's team leaders and setting up the notifications for those. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go and make this team even more secure. So I'm going to go over to my settings tab for security, and I'm going to show you there's 3 different types of teams. Good news, we've already talked about one, and that one is a split team. So the split team is, you have some people at 9, some people at 11. A secure team is a team where you require people to have passed a background check. Now, our other product, Planning Center People, actually helps you run background checks, and when people pass them, it sends the information along over to Planning Center Services so you actually can know who has passed a background check or not. So I want people on this security team to have a background check passed. So I'm going to click this, but before I do, notice in the header of the team, I've got an edit button and I have a little icon saying it's a split team. When I make this a secure team, by checking this box, I get a new little badge up here, this shield, and that's the secure team icon that says, hey, this team is a secure team. Now when I go over back to the members tab, I can see badges next to people who don't have a background check. These people, from within services, we don't know if they have failed the background check, if they just haven't been asked to do it yet. All you know from here is if they've passed or if it's just missing. Because the people that are going to follow up on that might need to have higher permissions. And so you actually can see more detail if in Planning Center People, if you're a background check admin. So those permissions are different. But now you can see Bruce, Natasha, Nick, and William. None of these, they all can be assigned to the team, but I can't actually schedule them to any dates. If I tried to put them onto a plan, it would say, you can't, this is a secure team, they have to have a past background check. You can learn more about background checks by typing it into our help system. Then we already talked about split teams. I'm going to go back to my settings tab. The third type of team that we're going to talk about is a tag team. So I'm going to go back to my list of all teams. There's a shortcut to do this, by the way. Notice security. Right above security, it tells me what service type I'm in. I can actually click this to go straight to that service type. So I'm going to go back, and now I'm on all teams for the contemporary service. So you'll see their icons, and the choir has a tag in it already. So I'm going to go over to choir to show you what a tag team is like. So what even is a tag team? Well, instead of when you go to assign people to the team, like before, I assigned Tony. I just typed his name as who's security? Tony. Done. For a tag team, you can't do that. For a tag team, instead of choosing people, you choose tags. And tags are something that we'll talk about later. But the reason that you would do this is when you want to share a team to lots of places. For instance, if you have the exact same security team, this one, choir. I have a choir for Sunday morning and for Sunday night. It's the exact same choir. So rather than have to assign people to two different teams, because they are two different teams for each service, but rather than have to assign people twice, I say this is a tag team because I want to share the same people from the choir in this service to the choir in this service. Another example would be, let's say you have a list of ushers, and rather than just be generic ushers, you want to assign them to like the different doors. You know what? Some people are ushers at door 1, and some people are ushers at door 2, door 3, door 4. Rather than have to keep assigning people, you can make it a tag team so that you just assign them to one tag, like usher, and it will put them in lots of places. So I'm going to kind of show you how to do that. But before I do, the main thing to note here is most of the time you don't need tag teams. A lot of people who have been using services for a long time have teams that are tag teams, and you're making it harder on yourself. Why? Because tag teams used to be, a long time ago, the only type of team. So if you took over an account for somebody and you're like, this seems harder than it should be, check to see, are your teams tag teams? If they are, should they be? Because if not, all you have to do is just uncheck this box and it will make things a lot easier for you. But if you do want to share people to lots of places, a tag team is the way to do it. So let me show you how this works. So now that it is a tag team, I'm going to go to my members tab, and I'm going to look, let's go to alto. Notice there's nobody assigned to alto in the choir yet. So there's no button to add a person. Like I said, I can't just add a person, I have to add a tag instead. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a tag, and I'm going to search for the alto tag. This is something that I created already. And yes, I want anybody who is assigned to the choir alto tag to automatically be on this team. Look, this tag combination results in 8 people. What's nice is you can add multiple tags. So let's say you have altos, if you have multiple campuses. I want people who have the alto tag and the San Diego campus, and then people that will have to have both of those tags to be on this team. I'm going to keep it simple for now. Yes, all 8 of those altos, and boom, they are assigned to here. And you can see that. So I want Ashley to be an alto in the choir. And she's not. But I have a tag team, so how do I do that? Well, I'm going to go to Ashley's profile, and I'm going to assign her that tag. So the quickest way to get to Ashley's profile is actually to type the / key, under the question mark, and boom, the search bar at the very top of the screen opens up, and I can type I can type it right. Now I'm actually logged in as Ashley, so I could just click to go to her profile. What have I done? Well, this is weird. So I am just going to go to her profile from here. I don't know why that didn't work. So from Ashley's profile here, I can go to the Details tab. And on the Details tab is where I see all of the tags. So from the tags here, I'm going to add a tag, and I'm going to add that choir alto tag. Once I do that, it's down here. I click done, and now she's going to be on that team. Notice she's got some other tags here that's putting her on other teams. If I actually go to the scheduling tab on Ashley's profile, you'll see all of the teams that she is that she's assigned to. And now you see she's assigned to the choir alto part. She's also assigned to the traditional service choir alto part because both of them are looking for that same tag. So it's one tag can put people in lots of places at once. So remember, tag teams are pretty much useful to share people many places at once. But if not, don't make it a tag team. Just uncheck that box. Teams are done. You've set up your teams. You've made your teams in positions and you've assigned all your people to them. Now it's time for templates. This is one of those things that a lot of people miss out on, and this is what will make scheduling so much faster for you. So I'm going to go back to the Plans tab, and for my contemporary service, I'm going to go over to this little gear again, and instead of clicking Teams, I'm going to click Templates. So here are all of the templates that I've already made for my contemporary service. Now, you can add a new template here just by clicking and typing a name, and it will take you to that template. So first of all, let me just tell you, each team could have its own template. So you can see in my list here, band has its own template. Media team has its own template. Parking team has its own template. That's great. That's one way that you can do it. Another way, a lot of churches prefer to have shared templates where it's like one template and all the teams are scheduled to it. And one of the reasons for that is when you make a new plan, you get to import a template, and it's nice if someone else has just already imported your stuff for you by the time you got to that plan. So you can share templates, and then you can also have rotating templates. So I've got that here where I have a template called All Teams Weeks 1 and 3. So the first and third week of the month, I use this template. And then All Teams Weeks 2 and 4. The second and fourth week of the month, I use this template. So if you have rotating teams, just make 2 templates. For now, I am going to go into All Teams Week 2 and 4. So a template looks very much like a plan, except it doesn't have times, it doesn't have files, and the name at the top here is the template. So if you want to change the name of your template, you can just click on it and it will allow you to change it right there. So I'm going to switch over to my scheduling view by clicking the people icon up here. And I have already set up most of this template, but I've only set up First Impressions 9 a.m. I have not set up the 11 a.m. First Impressions team because I was waiting to do it with you. I'm so thoughtful. So what I like to do is, it's usually nice to just start with needed positions, even if you're going to fill them. It just, I don't know, for me, it just is faster. So what I'm going to do is at the very top right here where it says add people, I'm going to hover over that, and the bottom option here is needed positions. Now, you can also click anywhere on the page, and you can just hit N is a shortcut key. Wait, shortcut keys? Yes, you heard that right. If you type a question mark while you're on the page, you'll be able to see all the shortcut keys. So from here, I am going to go into First Impressions, 11 a.m. And I need 6 greeters and 6 ushers. And I'm going to click Accept. And now it has added those needed positions there. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to fill those really quickly here by clicking on 6 needed positions. And the people for my 11 o'clock service are these people. Just kidding. I have no idea. I'm just randomly selecting people. Didn't you think, wow, how does he know off the top of his head? I just know, you know. And now I'm going to do the ushers as well. I'm going to choose 6 people for this. And because I'm in a template, it's not showing conflicts because there's no date associated with this yet. I'm just choosing the people. 1 more person left. Accept. So I've got my different greeters and my ushers there. Now, let's talk about the status of people and actually the defaults that happen when you schedule a person. So, if on your team, let's say, I already sort of talked about this, but let's pretend on this team that the greeters, Adriel is on every week. The rest of them are not, but he is. So I just want him to be confirmed all the time. I can just click on his name and I can change his status here to confirmed. Now he's confirmed in the template. So when I import this template, he's going to be confirmed by default. But what if all of my greeters should always be confirmed? It would be annoying to have to edit each one every single time. Like, can I just make them confirmed when I put them on the plan? Yes, you definitely can. And so that is done with in your team setup. So I can go up here to the top of first impressions, and I can open my options menu over here. And there's just a shortcut to get to my team setup. So we've already been to this page, but I'm going to go anyway. It takes me to the members tab, but I'm going to go to the settings tab. And from here, I've got my scheduling defaults. So when I schedule new people to first impressions, by default, they're going to be unconfirmed, and they're going to have that prepared notification. If I didn't want this for this team, I could say, you know what? I actually want everybody to be confirmed when I put them on the schedule. And I don't actually want to have to send them that email. I just want them to see it automatically. This is how you would set those. And I'm going to change this back for myself. So these defaults are what happen when you add a person to a plan. But when you import somebody from a template, it actually looks to see what the template settings were, not necessarily the default settings. The last thing here is the replies to person. When you email your team and they click accept or decline, or they even just reply to the email, like maybe asking a question, who does that reply go to? Well, you can set who it goes to by default, and it's set to, right now this is set to current scheduler. What that means is whoever schedules them will be the person they reply to, which means you can have different people scheduling them each week, and the replies will go to whoever that person was. But if you just want always, you want the replies to always go to the same person, you can choose one of your team leaders. And I've already have people scheduled, so it says, hey, do you want to update everybody who's already on there to Emily? I'm going to say no for now. So I'm going to go back to current scheduler. And this is how you would change that by default. Templates are done. Yes. Okay, let's talk about actually scheduling. So when I go to my main plans page, there's two different ways that this might happen. If you don't have plans or you're ready to schedule new plans, you're going to have an add plan button. And when you add a plan, you get to choose what templates are imported to the plan when you create it. What's nice about this is I can say, you know what, I want to make 4 new plans. And January 17th, yes, that's actually the 3rd week, but this one is the 4th week. And now this allows me to do my rotating templates. And as I create these plans, the templates are imported, done. So that's if you're making new plans. But what if you already have plans? You can still import templates over and over again, as many templates as you want, to existing plans. I'm going to go into my October 11th plan here. And notice that my first impressions, 9 a.m., already has some people that have confirmed. So I've already actually sent the email out to this, but I forgot to schedule my first impressions 11 a.m. And we were just looking at that template, and in that template, everybody's unconfirmed. But I'm sort of showing you what's going to happen. Even though everyone is unconfirmed in that template, when I import it, it's going to leave these people alone. It's going to add new things that don't exist, but anything that already exists, it's not going to change. So let's do that. So when I go up here to first impressions and I say import a template, I'm going to import my all weeks teams 2 and 4, just the people in that template. And I'm going to click accept. And as I do that, that whole first impressions 11 a.m. team just got imported. And anything else that didn't exist at all in this plan got imported, but people who were already confirmed, it just stayed that way. So you can keep importing templates as you add things to them, and it's not going to mess up anything that's already in your plan. Okay, now what you would do to schedule after you import your template, you would just fill the remaining needed positions. So which we already did earlier in that other plan, I would just go to my worship team and I would choose who my worship team members are going to be. And look, I'll choose Ashley and Dalton and Jessica, and boom, it's going to add them. Now, once again, now that my schedule is done, I'll click email and I'll send them that email. But before I do that, one really important thing to talk about is time assignments. When you schedule people, they are assigned to different times. My vocals. So let's switch over. Let's get out of this scheduling view so we can see our times. So I'm going to click this people button up here to get out of scheduling view so I can see all of my times. I've got my service times, rehearsal times, and other times. So let's actually go and let's go into a team member, and let's go into Aubrey here and click Aubrey, and I want to show you what happens as I, well, first, notice over to the right, Aubrey is assigned. She's at the 11 a.m. service, and she has to be there when the doors open, which is a different time. If I change what team she's on, it's going to change what times she is assigned to. And this is great. So if I were to put her on the band, she's got to be at the band rehearsal. If I were to put her on vocals, she would have to be at the vocal rehearsal. And so all these times are changing based on which team she's assigned to. So you should normally not have to worry about time assignments if your times are set up correctly. So how does it know what times these are? Well, from the time section. So over here, top left, I'm going to click and I'm going to edit my band rehearsal. So I've got this rehearsal time. It's on Tuesday. And down here, it's showing me which teams should be assigned to the band rehearsal. Well, this is wrong. Should the security team be at band rehearsal? No, they shouldn't. So I am going to remove them so that only the band is assigned to the band rehearsal. What happens is when you email your people, as we showed earlier, their email says, here are the times that you're assigned to. So if I didn't change this, when I email security team, it's going to say, you're assigned to band rehearsal. Now, you're probably thinking, who cares? They see band rehearsal. They know they don't have to be at band rehearsal. The problem is you're sending a message that Planning Center information cannot be trusted. And you don't want to send that message. You want them to think when Planning Center says, here are your times, that those are your times. When it tells them these are the things assigned to you, that it is correct. So you want to make sure that your times are assigned correctly. So this is what I want. I want to make sure that just the band is at my band rehearsal. So I deleted the security team. And this little checkbox says, hey, update team assignments for anyone already scheduled. So like if I already had security team scheduled to this plan and they were assigned to the band rehearsal, this will now fix that. So yes, that is what I want. Save. It's going to go through, and now only the band is supposed to be at the band rehearsal. Okay. Let's see, I lost my place in my notes, so I'm scrolling on my phone. By the way, my phone is right here. I don't think my computer's a touchscreen. So we are now going to show you one other really cool thing here. When I'm in these times in band rehearsal, the other thing is you can have automatic reminder emails sent. So my band, I schedule them 2 months ahead of time, and it's not the same people every week. So it's really helpful for me to have Planning Center send them an email the week that they're going to be serving so that they remember. Now, if your people are the same people every single week, you don't need to set up a reminder. But I do. So I'm going to say band is going to get a reminder 2 days before my Tuesday rehearsal. So on Sunday, they're going to get an email that says, hey, band rehearsal is on Tuesday. Perfect. And I want to make this change for all of my plans. So I'm going to save that. Now, you usually don't want to set up reminders for the same team for 2 different times. Like, now that I'm reminding my band about the band rehearsal, I would not want to also remind the band about the 9 a.m. service on Sunday. No thanks. I would, if your band comes to the Tuesday rehearsal and then forget that they're serving on Sunday, then you got problems that Planning Center can't help you solve. Can't do everything for you. So you don't want to over email your people as what I'm trying to say, because the more automated emails you send, the more likely they're going to ignore them all. And you don't want that. So usually only one reminder per team, per service. Now we are ready to send our emails. Wait, no, we're not. Here's why. Because as I said earlier, you usually want to schedule like a month at a time, maybe 2 months at a time. Get your whole schedule lined up so that you're not sending your people an email every single week. Like I just said, they're going to maybe start ignoring those emails if they get too many of them. So how can we send them one email for like everything that you want them to do for the next 2 months? We enter the matrix. So the matrix is an awesome tool that allows us to see many plans at the same time. So I could just click the matrix button right here from October 11th. But I actually want to start from September, so I'm just going to go back out really quickly, and I'm going to go into my September 20th service, and actually I just could click this matrix button there, whatever. So I'm going to click the matrix here. I want 4 of my next plans, so load the matrix. It is going to load up my next my next plans here. I'm going to delete one of them here. And now you can see each plan is in its own column. So I've got a column for each page, and then the rows inside of this are for the different things that exist in those plans. So I can see what songs and everything is going to be in my order of service. I can see my first impressions team. I can see who my greeters are across every single week for the next 4 weeks. And I can see that for all of my different teams. If you want to load more weeks once you're in this plan, you can go up here and you can click load a plan. And when you load a plan, I can say I want to load from the contemporary service, and here's all those plans that I've loaded. I could load more than just 4, but I like these 4 for now. Okay, so when I'm in this first impressions, you can schedule people down here. You can import templates if you want to. Like pretty much all the things you can do in a plan, you can also do in the matrix. So this is where I like to do my scheduling. Not just 1 week at a time, but 4 to 8 weeks at a time. You can fill your needed positions. So cool feature alert. And that is something called auto scheduling. Now, like, wouldn't it be great if you could just have the system pick the best people for you? Well, I don't recommend this for every team. Some teams you want to handpick, like you want to pick who the band is going to be based on what songs or whatever. But if you're trying to just rotate people evenly, auto schedule can save the day. So I'm going to open up my tech team here. And I've got my needed positions. This is what you have to have. In order for auto scheduling to work, you first have to tell it how many people do you want it to auto schedule. So you do have to create your needed positions, but we've already done that. They're already all good to go. So at the very top of the matrix, I can click auto schedule. And I say, I want to auto schedule the tech team, and I'm going to click accept, and you're going to see in the background, it's going to be filling all of these needed positions. So what it does is it first looks to see who doesn't have any conflicts. It's not going to schedule people with conflicts. Then it's going to see who hasn't served in the longest amount of time. And it's going to start at the top. And it's going to schedule people who haven't served in the longest amount of time and don't have any conflicts. So it pretty much just filled my whole team. So this is awesome. But it's also nice that it didn't send those emails automatically, because this gives me a chance to check it. Ooh, you know what? Jesse, I don't trust this guy. Just kidding. He's one of the people that does video here at Planning Center. So he's laughing in the back room at me right now. Anyway, I don't want Jesse to serve on this week. This is a bad idea. So I'm going to delete him from this plan, and now I can schedule somebody else in his place. But when I'm doing all of this, that lets me change it. And now once I have my all 4 of my weeks done, now I'm going to email these people, and I can go into here once this loads up for me. Hello. I'm going to escape out of that. Escape. I would be able to, I don't know what's happening right now, but I'd be able to email those people from the matrix, and it would send them one email that contained all of theirs, that said, hey, you've been scheduled for a lot of things. do you want to go and respond? And then it takes them to the website where they can just respond to everything on their own. Now, it's good that that email thing didn't work because I did want to show you something before I did that. Auto scheduling is really nice, but you can also just try it out. So if I just auto scheduled and I'm like, oh, you know what? I don't like any of those results. As long as I don't leave the page, I can come back to auto schedule and it says you've already auto scheduled. Do you want to undo it? And I can click here to undo my last auto schedule. Except for I already deleted Jesse from the plan, so it's going to have an error. And I shouldn't have done this. Bad Aaron, like, you should know better than this. Don't do things differently than you are supposed to. But you can click that undo auto schedule button and it will take everybody out. So it's a really great way for you to try out auto schedule, see if it works, and then if it doesn't, just take them all back off and start all over again from scratch. Another way that you can schedule people is to let them choose the weeks they want to serve. And that is called sign-up sheets. So I'm going to go back up here using my arrow. And in my contemporary service, I'm going to go to October 18th. And from here, I'm going to look at my first impressions. Let's say I want my ushers and greeters to be able to just find a week that works good for them and they should sign up. So first, I have to make needed positions, once again, because Planning Center needs to know how many people should be able to sign up. So I've made this 6 for each of these. And then in my team settings, I'm going to click, I'm going to hover over here, and I'm going to say Enable Signups. And once those signups enabled, now you can see there's a signup sheet available for each of these plans. Now, immediately, all of my greeters and all of my ushers, if they just happened to log in, they would see a sign-up sheet that's available. And I'll show you that because I have one on my profile. So at the top of my profile on my schedule, I've got some sign-up sheets. And hey, look, there's a new one because I just enabled some new ones for October 13th. I could sign up for this particular plan. But usually your people aren't just logging in every 5 minutes to see if there's a new sign-up sheet. Usually you want to tell them that there's a new one. So what you can do is you can email them. So I'm going to hover over First Impressions and click the email button right here. And the first thing is like, who do you want to email? All scheduled people? Well, no, actually don't have anybody scheduled in the First Impressions. I want to email needed positions for sign-up sheets. So I go over to here and it says, hey, First Impressions, that's the one. So I click accept. And now everybody assigned to ushers or greeters is added. And I have a template already made, sign-up sheets email. We make one of those for you, although you can make your own. And it says sign-ups are open for the following dates. To respond or view, click the link below. And they'll have a link in that email that takes them right to the sign-up sheet where they can click to sign up for any of those positions. The last thing we're going to talk about today is some team management features. So that is going to be on the People tab. When I go to the People tab, I get a filter by default, a Teams filter. This makes it so that I don't have to see every single person in my church database or everyone from all the teams. I'm just seeing people from teams that I lead. This is why it's important for you to become a team leader. So when I click this, you can see I lead the band for contemporary service and midweek service. I'm on the vocal team and the worship team for some other services, but I don't lead them. But if I wanted to see people from those teams, I could check those boxes and it will add them to my list, and I'm going to see more people in that team. But I don't for right now, so I'm going to uncheck those and just see the teams that I lead there. When you get these results, you have some options of what you can do with the results. So I've got 23 people that meet this filter. I can email them all. Now this is a different email because this is an email that's not about October 11th. It's not about a specific plan. It's just a general email like, hey, you have anything that I can pray for you about? And they could respond to that email or anything else that's not related to a date. I could print these 23 people in some different reports. I could download a CSV, or I can bulk edit these people. If I wanted to assign everybody here to the alto tag, I could bulk edit by first choosing the people that I want to select and then I could bulk edit and assign them to that thing all at once. I'm not going to do that right now. I'm going to talk about helping your people get blockouts in for you. So if you're going to schedule a month or 2 months ahead of time, then you want to tell your people you're about to do that and ask them to put in their blockout dates, because that will help you. So what we can do is, this is my list of everybody on all my teams, on both of my teams. So I'm going to click the email button, and we have, this is just a general email. Well, you will want to write some content, but we have a pre-written email called the Planning Center Blockout Request. And this is gonna, we've pre-written this, but you can change this content. Hey, I'm getting ready to do my next round of scheduling, and you should probably say something in here like through December. If you have any dates you know you'll be unavailable, click blockout dates. If you don't have any blockouts, click I have no blockouts. So either way, you're trying to encourage them to click either to make some blockouts or not, so that you can sort of track. So after you send this out and you maybe like wait a week, then you can actually, on the people page, you can see there's a column. If you don't see it, there's a column chooser up here that you can choose which column should be visible. I have last set blockouts visible. And this is going to show me when everyone last set their blockouts. So I can even click on this header to sort it and see, oh, these people have never set blockouts. And these are the people that have done it most recently. So it'll help you see, oh, yep, last week I asked them to do it, and everybody except for one person has done it. I'm just going to call that one person on the phone. And the nice thing is, even if they click I have no blockouts, clicking I have no blockouts sets the timestamp on this as if they had set a blockout. So you can tell that they answered that request even though they didn't actually have to make a blockout. We have just a couple of things left. I know I've run over my time, but you can leave this video anytime you want to. You don't have to watch the rest if you don't want, but I've got a couple more things to talk about. Permissions is really the main one. So when you add people to services, you can choose what permission they have. And so I'm going to go into a person here, let's say Amy Stevens, and you can see she's an administrator. I'm going to click on administrator. It's just a shortcut that goes to the details tab, and details is where you have your permissions. What's nice about permissions is they can be different for every service. So you could have someone that's an administrator of the, well, just like here, she is an administrator of the midweek service, but the contemporary service, she only can schedule people. Or you could have someone that is administrator of the high school service, but they can't even get to the other services. So when you see these permissions, we can click edit, and this is where you choose each person's permission. And there are a couple different levels. So they all build on each other. So the first one and the default permission is scheduled viewer. This person can only see what they are scheduled for. If they're not scheduled to it, they don't see it at all. And in fact, they only can see the My Schedule tab. They don't see any of the rest of these tabs, only My Schedule. Next up is a viewer. They can see everything, not just the stuff they're scheduled for. Schedulers can see everything, and they can schedule new people. Editors can schedule people, and they can also do your order of service, and they can add new songs, they can add new media, they can edit other types of things. And then administrators can do everything. They can create new service types, they can create new teams, and they can set up your different settings. There's also one special permission, which is the organization administrator. This is like the administrator for your entire Planning Center account. You can have multiple ones of those. That is not listed here, but they're listed as an administrator, and you just can't change their permissions at all on those people. And then I already said the last thing. I'm going to say the last thing again, but I promise this is the last thing. And that, because I told you I was going to talk about it, and that is, how do you set up these tags? So remember, we added an alto tag to Ashley's profile. Well, tags are set up when you're at the top of the people page. You click this little gear, and there's that CSV import I talked to you about earlier. But here's also the button where an administrator can go to edit tags. And from here, all the different tags that we've added to our account, the different require parts, if the things that probably shouldn't be in here but are in here from a long time ago. Some of these things are better tracked in our other product planning center people. But some of this stuff is great, and this is where you would go to add tags to services so that you can then assign people to those tags. That was a lot of stuff, you guys. We walked through teams and templates and scheduling and people management, and there's even more. But if you have questions on how to do anything else, remember, you can click the question mark at the top right and you can just ask whatever question you want, and there will probably be a lesson on that specific question there. And if not, you can email our support team. You can send this video to anybody on your team to rewatch again, and you can do that by sending them to YouTube, or the best way to do it, because you'll see all of our different courses, is by going to planning.center/university.